Yeah, make a great approval.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Nastra and Vishavan, VP of Global Technology Delivery from Rakuten Kobo. Here today to talk to you about how Rakuten Kobo mastered the DevOps. But before going there, I want to tell you who's Kobo. We have founded the company 2009. This is one of the fastest growing e-reader company in the world. I deliberately put a picture here because a majority of my colleagues call me a selfie Nasra. I love to take selfies with everyone around the company because I do believe that these are the actual real things that will stay. The real humans behind what we create and what we deliver. Here you see our CEO, Michael Tamblin, and our CTO, Trevor Hunter. I'm here with two of my colleagues from Toronto. Please stand up, Marcus and Casey, two of the engineers behind many of the great products that Kobo creates. We really do believe that we can make a difference and make the world a better place if we put people into more reading. That's our mission. We want to make sure that there are more people that are reading and reading every day. How many of you are actually reading one book at the moment? Show of hand. How many with multiple books? How many of you are actually commuting to work every day at least for half an hour? There are very lucky ones with a very few commute here. That's awesome. If you are a reader, if you love book, and if you do commute, our product will be a very, very appealing thing for your daily life. We are the readers and we build the e-readers for the global usage of the people around the globe. We offer a platform, it is an open platform that will let the customers to actually read at any time, anywhere, and any places that they are. Our latest product is a waterproof, sandproof e-reader that you can use it at the beach, at the bathtub, anywhere that you are. And because it was not enough to extend the usage of the time for reading and more reading, we recently launched an audiobook program. That with that, we are taking advantage of all the commute time and reading and reading more. A little bit more about Kobo. We have partners around the globe that help us with extending the Kobo's offer and some statistics. We have 30 million plus readers. We have 5 million plus titles in our catalog. There are almost 15,000 physical and online stores worldwide that are selling Kobo and Kobo's product. There are 190 countries that we are actually offering ebooks. There are 21 countries that we have localized and content. But what do we offer? We have reading services that is offered through different web. We have an e-commerce service, and we also have a digital catalog offering. Our products, I've got a blue screen. We need one of those supercomputers that Rakuten is building for all the catalog and content. Windows is starting. So while we are waiting for that, I think I actually can skip all the slides and continue with, oh, it is coming. How many developers we have here? How many programmers? Show of hand. A lot. What is the single source of frustration for you? I've done some research, have gone through some survey, and learned that the single source of frustration for a developer is their code not going to production. Their code sitting in a staging environment and not seeing the light of production. And what is the most motivational aspect of a programmer's and developer's life, a professional life, is when you actually see your code in the environment. You see people are using it. You see your code is actually out there. So that's where we've put our majority of the effort, to make sure that there is no frustration by sitting the code in a staging environment and dusting a stale code. If I can get to the slides, I can show you some of the frustration kind of pictures. I need you to help with taking it to the next. This is where we were last time when it broke. These are Kobo's product. So you see one of our latest e-reader, but really e-readers that are designed and built by Kobo are not the main product. We sell content. We sell the e-readers for the sake of selling the content. You see that there are the e-commerce aspect of what we sell, our audiobook, our products that are extending basically the life of reading. To give you a little bit of where actually Kobo is, we are headquartered in Toronto, Canada. We do have R&D branches in Toronto, in Dublin, in Darmstadt, Germany, and here in Rakuten building. We are actually very culturally diverse when it comes to have the engineering team behind the Kobo product. Our R&D team, marketing, sales, content management, operation, and business development are in Toronto in our headquarters. We have an R&D team, global partner operation in Dublin, extended our R&D team to Darmstadt, Germany, have Tolino as our partner there. In Tokyo, Japan, we have another extended R&D team, plus the Japanese business team behind the content, and worldwide, the business development and publisher operation. I want to walk you through the journey of how we actually started and how we got to mastering the continuous development. Mastering might be a very, very strong word. We are close to our black belt, not black belt yet. And actually, when we get to our black belt, there will be many, many dons after that we need to go there. While we were waiting for the technical difficulty to go away, I asked you what is the single source of frustration as a developer. And to that purpose, really Kobo was not different. We used to actually create a code, release every other month, and then spend 2-3 months to actually fix all that we have broke, because when a code is not going into the environment and sitting there for 2 to 3 months, there are so many different things that has broken. The regression test that comes after that, the number of the bugs that you will find, it was a vicious circle of losing productivity and losing the capacity of a very expensive engineer's brain that we were not leveraging properly. So we thought, what needs to be done? What better than going to masters of productivity and masters of doing it right? Churchill says, success is actually ability of running from one failure to the other without losing passion and enthusiasm. At the same time, Mr. Schwab is saying that a person can succeed at anything if they are passionate about it. One of the topics for Rakuten Summit this time is the heart. And it is actually the heart and the passion side that will take us to the next level. Normally the human side of the activity is very much ignored when we are in this kind of summit. But if we go deep and we find what makes us passionate about what we do, that's exactly where we can find the most productivity. So looking at the problem in hand, looking at how we can actually make it towards better, our CTO set the goal. The culture needs to be shifted. We need to actually change and go towards delivering smaller, failing faster, and releasing faster. So the goal was set. The goal was set that instead of performing months and months of the development and sending it out, do a smaller chunk, go Agile, go Scrum, go DevOps. We work based on the culture of observability. We work based on monitoring what is in the system. So we wanted also at the same time make sure that the latest and greatest that is coming out of the production environment is actually connected to our systems. So goal was, testable code is good, observable code is better, self-healing code is the best. We are not at the best side yet, but we have been able to master the observable code side. Goal was set, and this is how our great engineers at home responded to it. From the people, process, and technology perspective, looking at 3 golden edge of the triangle of the productivity. We have made quality everyone's job. So it is not just testers' job to make sure that the quality code is out there. All the developers took it on their heart that quality is every single person's job, making sure that we are sending the best quality code out. Our chief architect has started to think about how we can actually increase the quality of the code and decrease the number of the bugs that are going out of the first level of the development. From the process perspective, we started to reducing the manual process, manual steps, doing more and more test automation, reducing the number of the hours that we would have spent in the manual process of performing those regression tests. So when a new feature is in place, we don't wait for another cycle of the regression test, and the automated system will actually perform and get all the different bugs. From the technology perspective also, we went towards making sure that the feature configuration is in place. So you can easily switch and not have a production environment be impacted by a code that is going out, and you can actually test it in production while there is no impact to the real system. So test in production was one of the major positive side effect of this activity. This won't be enough if we don't have enough measurement at the end. So we actually put the KPI as shelf time. We measure ourselves, we measure our quality, we measure the code based on the shelf time and how much a code is out of hand of the developer and to the production environment. With this three edge and plus measuring them, the goal was set, and I'm happy to share with you that these are the actual statistics. In past few months, we have gone through every day, sometimes multiple release per day. So 104 releases. This is the latest statistics that I got right before getting to the plane. 104 releases just in 8 months, while we had in 2015 17 releases, and in 2016 51. I want to pause for a second. Think about it. 104 times we were able to actually reduce the frustrations of the great mind and engineers at home. This was awesome. This was a very huge boost of the morale for the engineers. And our shelf time actually improved to 3 days, comparing to 40 and 10 days. So in 2 years, instead of waiting for a code in 40 days to see the light of production, our shelf time is 3. It is not still what we want to be, but very close. So from the time that developers set the, hit enter, they're done, and the time that it is actually in the hand of our customers, it takes 3 days. And some of those 3 days now is actually on the processes that is supporting it, and that's our next area of focus. So what is the next area of the focus? DevOps is an ecosystem. It is not one single thing. For DevOps to actually works properly, for it to flourish to the best possible well-oiled machine to developer codes, test automated, go to the production. Many other areas actually need to be working hand in hand. Quality of code being one of them, monitoring the other one. Sustainability and support is key. So what if the best code is delivered and it is right out of the developer's computer to the production environment? So what if we cannot sustain it? So what if we cannot actually scale it? So it is the ecosystem now that needs to actually support that piece of code, and it can take it to the next level of the self-healing code. So some of the other items that might not actually look very highlighted when it comes to the DevOps is the on-call system, how the escalation happens. When there are very few experts on a different piece of the code and functionality, how we actually make sure that their time is not spent on fixing the bugs and codes, as opposed to actually working on a next main best release. So those are all the area, like incident management, automation, even hardware support. All of them are part of the DevOps. So mastering an act is not a single place that needs to be focused. There are multiple different environments. There are very different elements in an ecosystem that needs to happen. And on top of that is the actual humans behind those ecosystems that are handling it and taking it to the next level. How we are actually making sure that this is sticking. We are relying on a data. We have a system that actually is connected to real data from our customers. When it comes to our customer care, to our call center, we have integrated these feedbacks to Slack channel. So our developers actually get real-time feedback from the customers out there. And those items are actually now in the middle of process to be connected to the use case and user stories that have created those. I want to pause again. Think about it. You build your piece of program based on a user story. The user story is accepted, called complete, code goes out, a bug happens in the production. Our systems actually track that and comes back to the exact developer and asking them to, there is a bug for this user story, go fix it. We have not mastered this part yet. We are in prototype of multiple functionalities by taking advantage of AI and concept of the bot and making sure that this is actually a real-time feedback that can reduce the number of the times that a production and an incident is going through different developers, and the real person behind the code get the notification and fix it very fast. We are very closely looking at the health of our system as well and the performance of the system. There are so many different monitorings, and we actually make joke because everyone is performing monitoring to the point that even our CTO has multiple TVs that he checks and looks and sends notes to the individual developers when he sees a spike or something. This goes with the culture of the observability, goes with checking the performance, making sure that the real-time feedback is actually circulated and it is not stale and sit on a couple of monitorings and systems only. If it is not enough, we are actually using the product analytics and using the big data also to parse through the comments and feedbacks that we are receiving so we can take advantage of the real-time information that is coming from the multiple channels to our way. To close the loop, this feedback loop is the most important part. We do design our systems based on the feedback, and we do design our systems based on information we receive from the actual customers. So why not to actually make the healing part of our production and DevOps activity based on the real feedback, which is now in place. Okay, what is next? We are going to rethink, relearn, reuse, and redo, this time better. So the concept of a circle of doing it, failing fast, doing it again. Next time better. Rethinking, relearning, reusing, redoing every time. Single and small step towards better. To that point, we do have a very simple taste coming from one of the masters of storytelling, Oscar Wilde. We have a very simple taste. We always satisfy with the best, and that's why we are making ourselves, forcing ourselves to be brave enough to sending the code out there, having the capability to test in production, and making sure that we have the circle of the feedback always intact. This was the story of how we have mastered the DevOps. This is how in 2 years the statistics are 30, 40 times better than what it was before. Any question? Awesome. We'll be happy to connect with you for any follow-up or any questions after.
Sorry, just one.